Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here. My name is Brian, and today we are talking about Indciator, which is a topic that I enjoy very much, as they are one of, if not, well, they're definitely one of my favorite labels. They're really near the top for me these days. And for this video, it's just about some recent releases from them, as well as I'm lumping in the stuff I picked up during the Indciator sale, which I know now is like weeks and weeks past, but I just figured while I'm talking Indciator, why don't I talk about what I picked up during the sale, which wasn't a ton of stuff, but just a few things. Anyway, so let's get into this. We can talk about the new releases first, and we will start with Hellfighters, which is a John Wayne film all about firefighters, and it's a movie that I am a huge fan of, and it's really just about firefighters. They fight oil fires specifically. That's what these firefighters do, and John Wayne is sort of like the head of the group, and he has Jim Hutton as one of his right-hand guys, but these these firefighters are kind of like superheroes. They're like celebrities. They have a private jet. I mean, because they're dealing with oil fires and they're dealing with oil money, there is no expense spared for their activities. And so they are like James Bond. You know, they're just jet setting around wherever the fires are. So Jim Hutton is kind of like a smooth ladies man, and at the beginning, you know, he gets a call, very much like a James Bond scene where he's hanging out with some lady, and you know, he has to take the phone and go to a job, and Catherine Ross enters the picture, I think, as John Wayne's daughter, estranged, and so there's just drama there. Vera Miles is also in the movie, so is J.C. Flippin, but it's just, I don't know, there's something enjoyable about this to me. I like some of these like later John Wayne films. I like Hatari, you know, I like even like Brannigan and McHugh, you know, the cop movies that he does where he feels out of place, but there's something still amusing to me about them. Same thing goes for this. This is just a fun, it's almost like a Howard Hawks movie in a way, just in terms of like professionals doing their thing and trying not to let their personal business get in the way. And anyway, I'm a big fan. This has come out on Blu-ray in the States a few times, one from, I think, Universal, and then one from Mill Creek, but no features on those. On the other hand, this one is Region B locked. In fact, I think most of what I'm going to talk about is Region B locked from Indciator today, but we get a nice round of features, including an original 6-track sound mix presented as 5.1, audio commentary with film historian C. Courtney Joyner and Henry Park, the BFI interview with Andrew V. McLaughlin, who directed the film. That's 61 minutes, and that's an archival audio recording of the director in conversation with David Lewin at the National Film Theatre in London. One of the great features that Indciator often includes are these BFI interviews and stuff like that. So that's very cool and exclusive to this disc. The Director and the Duke, 2009, a 4-minute discussion with McLaughlin about his partnership with John Wayne, and then an audio interview with Edward Faulkner. The stalwart character actor reminisces with C. Courtney Joyner. The Rare Breed, 29 minutes, a career-spanning appraisal of McLaughlin by film archivist Tom Vincent, and the Super 8 version original cut down, as well as newsreel capturing famed firefighter Red Adair extinguishing blazes in the Sahara, and more. So very nice disc. Very excited to have a nice edition of this. I mean, like I said, I've had it on Blu-ray, but now I get some features so I can get rid of the other ones I had. And then Grey Lady Down is next up. This is a Charlton Heston picture with David Carradine and Stacy Keach. And this one is a disaster movie that, you know, is about a ship being rescued. And it's one of those that I think is a bit underseen and underrated because it just doesn't, you know, get the press that the Poseidon Adventure does or something like that. So the tagline is "Trapped underwater with time running out," and it's about the USS Neptune, a nuclear sub that is sunk off the coast of Connecticut after a collision with a Norwegian cargo ship, and the Navy must attempt a potentially sort of dangerous rescue in the hope of saving the lives of the crew. And yeah, like I said, it's got Heston, David Carradine, Stacy Keach, Ned Beatty, Stephen McHattie, Ronnie Cox. I feel like there's even more folks in here. Michael O'Keefe, Christopher Reeve. Just an incredible cast. But yeah, this one has had a Blu-ray also from, in this case, Shout Factory. Shout Factory put this one out. And so I have that previous edition, but again, we don't have the same kind of extras available that you get with this one. And again, this is Region B locked, but you get an audio commentary with film historian Peter Tungette. You get the Guardian interview with Charlton Heston from 85, 75 minutes, archival audio of the recording of the great actor in conversation with Quentin Falk at the National Film Theater. Again, the Guardian interviews are something that Indciator calls up and adds to their discs whenever they can, and those are great exclusive kind of bonus materials that only Indciator seems to access. Well, not only Indciator in terms of the UK, but definitely not something you'll see stateside. And then what else have we got here? Ladies Man, 2021, 12 minutes. Actor Stacy Keach recalls his role as the dashing captain leading the rescue. And The Changing Tide, 2021, 8 minutes. Character actor Stephen McHattie remembers working with a great team. Plumbing the Depths, 41 minutes. Film historian and former Navy officer Alan K. Rode on the U.S. Navy submarine rescue program, which he knew intimately, which is really cool because Alan K. Rode, obviously a film scholar of the highest order, but he's also an ex-Navy man and had dealt specifically with this rescue program, which is really cool. So he has a lot of personal insights into the program, which was a real thing, obviously, and how, the real program compares to the movie version and things like that. So very enjoyable stuff and interesting to hear Alan K. Rode doing more than just film scholarship. Radio spots, a whole bunch of other stuff, including booklet, which I should always be calling out because these booklets are really nice, glossy with essays. They really do a nice job with them. And I believe Hellfighters has one too. Yep, they always do. And they're significantly, you can see the thickness here. So it's when Criterion used to do booklets, they were on par with this. And so it's a really nice booklet that they include. Next up in terms of new titles, we have Midway, which is from 1976, I want to say. Yeah. And this is a kind of it comes out during the disaster cycle. Obviously, it's more of a World War II movie. It depicts the U.S. and Japanese forces in the naval battle of Midway, which became a turning point for the Americans during World War II, apparently. And it's one that just has this incredible epic all-star cast. I mean, we're talking like Longest Day epic all-star cast, including, again, Charlton Heston, Henry Fonda, James Coburn, Glenn Ford, Hal Holbrook, Robert Mitchum, Toshiro Mifune, Cliff Robertson, Robert Wagner, Pat Morita, let's see, Christopher George, Eric Estrada, Tom Selleck. It just goes on and on. Monty Markham, Glenn Corbett, Dabney Coleman. I mean, it just is this epic thing. And this is one of the movies, if I recall, that, like one of my favorites, Roller Coaster, and Battlestar Galactica were released in Sensurround in the theaters, where they put the big speakers at the front of the theater and they really just tried to crank up the bass and really shake the theater with this rumble. And each of the films had an actual track dedicated to Sensurround. And it was just one of those, gimmicks in the 70s. But I have seen Earthquake in Sensurround, and, they got a decoder and did a revival screening of it. It was amazing. So I can't imagine what seeing Midway and the battle that was happening in this film in Sensurround would have been like, but Anyway, I always think about whenever there's a Sense Around movie that I come across, I have to mention Sense Around. Again, Region B Locked has the original mono and 2.1 Sense Around audio tracks. So you have a Sense Around track, and maybe you can sort of approximate it depending on your subwoofers. You have an alternate 2-part TV version, 101 minutes and 92 minutes. The rarely seen extended cut containing unique scenes reframed to 4:3 and presented in standard definition as originally broadcast. Audio commentary with film historians Steve Mitchell and Stephen J. Rubin. The Guardian interview with Robert Wagner from 1983, 71 minutes. TV starring conversation with Joan Bakewell at the National Film Theatre, London. They Were There, 1978, 7 minutes. Charlton Heston presents this archival documentary featuring interviews with 3 combatants who survived the battle. The Making of Midway, 2001, 39 minutes, a documentary looking at the film's productions. Sense Around, The Sounds of Midway, 2001, 5 minutes, a look at the film's use of the Sense Around audio system. So I love Sense Around documentaries, even if they're short. Then you have The Battle of Midway, 1942, 18 minutes, an award-winning documentary directed by John Ford, relaying the battle with footage shot by Navy cameramen. Trailers, TV spots, and then, of course, a booklet with essays. Again, a very significant booklet, as you can see. Glossy. Love it, love it, love it. So that is Midway. And then lastly, we have MacArthur with Gregory Peck. Now, I haven't seen this movie, and it is a film portrayal of MacArthur's life from 1942, before the Battle of Bataan, to 1952, the time after he'd been removed from his Korean War Command by President Truman for insubordination, and is recounted in flashback as he visits West Point. That's kind of the structure of the movie. And it's, over 2 hours. It's kind of epic tale, and I'm told it's a great performance by Gregory Peck. I don't know too many other folks in the cast, honestly, so it's really going to be the Gregory Peck show ultimately. But I'm definitely excited to check this one out, as I've never seen it before, and I'm a fan of him. This has let's see here, MacArthur the Rebel General, 129 minutes, an alternative UK home video version containing unique material presented open matte and standard definition. Audio commentary with film historians Steve Mitchell and Stephen J. Rubin. General disposition, director Joseph Sargent, who I'm a big fan of, recalls his time working with Gregory Peck. A selection of Pathé newsreels capturing events portrayed in the film. A tribute to MacArthur, 3 minutes from 1942. MacArthur in Australia, 1942, 1 minute. MacArthur returns to the Philippines. MacArthur steps down. MacArthur addresses Congress. I guess these are like newsreel. Yeah, these are all the newsreel, shorts that you can get about MacArthur. So you get the real man in these. And then, of course, MacArthur honored on his 75th birthday. And then, again, a very nice booklet included with this. There's always alternate artwork. I mean, not always, but there tends to be, an alternate artwork for each of these. And so anyway, that's the new stuff, okay? And I'm into that. But also, I've got some stuff that I picked up as part of the sale. I'll start with Paul Schrader's Light Sleeper, which is one that I'd been meaning to get for a long time. And this one's about a drug dealer with sort of this upscale clientele and how he's having moral problems about sort of going about his daily deliveries. A reformed addict, he's never gotten over the wife that left him, and the couple that use him for deliveries worry about his mental well-being and his effectiveness at his job. Meanwhile, someone is killing women in apparently drug-related incidents. So there's a lot happening in this movie. It has Willem Dafoe, as you can see. Also stars Susan Sarandon, Dana Delaney, Mary Beth Hurt, Jane Addams, Sam Rockwell, David Spade. It's just got a really interesting and eclectic cast, and is one of those Schrader films that I don't feel like is talked about very much. It came out in 1992, and I remember seeing it on VHS when it came out and being impressed with it. And thinking this is one of Paul Schrader's better movies. But for whatever reason, I haven't heard people talk about it as much. I know it came out from Umbrella on Blu-ray, but this is a nicer edition of it. You have an audio commentary with writer-director Paul Schrader from 2002. I think that's from maybe a DVD. Selected scenes commentary with actors Willem Dafoe and Susan Sarandon, 18 minutes. Guardian interview with Willem Dafoe from 1998, 66 minutes. So that's 66 minutes of an archival audio recording of the actor in conversation with critic Jonathan Romney, recorded at London's National Film Theatre. The Midlife Movie, 2021, 18 minutes. Paul Schrader remembers the production of Light Sleeper. That's brand new. The BAM interview with Ed Lachman and Paul Schrader. Ed Lachman shot the film, a great cinematographer. Works a lot with Todd Haynes. And anyway, the cinematographer and director in conversation on stage at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, New York, after screening of Light Sleeper. Dear Paul Schrader, thank you for Light Sleeper, 2021, 11 minutes of personal meditation on Schrader's film from the critic and filmmaker Mark Cousins, and then a trailer, and it's got a booklet and everything. So that's really nice. And then this one came out from Scream Factory, but I wanted to get this version of it. This is The Legacy, directed by Richard Marquand, who would go on to do Return of the Jedi. This is from 1978 and has Catherine Ross and Sam Elliott. And they play an American couple who are summoned to a British mansion while visiting England for a work obligation, and they stumble upon this family and its curse, and it becomes like a, crazy stuff in a mansion kind of movie. Written in part by Jimmy Sangster, who did a lot of stuff for Hammer, and you can definitely feel the Hammer vibes on this, although it's a little racier because it's 1978, so it gets a little nuttier than some Hammer movies. And it's just a kind of goofy but enjoyable film that I have the Scream Factory of, but I wanted this version. This is Region B. No, sorry, this is all region. And Light Sleeper is Region B. I thought that was all region, but Legacy is all region. It includes 2 presentations of the film, U.S. theatrical cut, presented in widescreen from a high-def master, and the U.K. theatrical cut, presented open matte from a standard definition master. Original stereo and audio, new and exclusive audio commentary with Kevin Lyons, editor of the Encyclopedia of Fantastic Film and Television, and editing Legacy, 2015, 14 minutes, award-winning editor and second unit director Ann V. Coates recalls her work on the film. The makeup effects of the film, makeup effects of The Legacy, with Robin Graham discussing his specialist makeup creations for the film, and the makeup is interesting and impressive. Ashes and Crashes, 2019, 4 minutes, interview with second unit director Joe Marks, and an extended Legacy, 2019, 11 minutes, an analysis of the differences between the U.S. and U.K. cuts, and between The Anvil and The Hammer, 1973, 27 minutes, the legacy of director Richard Marquand's acclaimed documentary short film made for the Central Office of Information about the Liverpool Police Force. So very interesting additions for this, an all-region release. And then last but not least, I finally picked up the Fumanchu Cycle box set. As you can see, this includes films from 1965 to 1969, The Face of Fu Manchu, Brides of Fu Manchu, The Vengeance of Fu Manchu, The Blood of Fu Manchu, and The Castle of Fu Manchu. And you can see their stuff along the bottom, the pictures of those films. I know Jess Franco directed a couple of these, and you have a couple other directors, but lots of features on this. I'm not going to go through everything on this one. I'm not going to bust this open yet. But it was a box set that I'd been meaning to pick up, and I just decided to finally pull the trigger on during the sale. And I don't know these films that well. I'd seen a couple of them around the time this came out, but not all of them. And again, as you can see, this includes a nice booklet, or more a book, and a poster, and all the films, and and this one I think is Region B locked as well, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, that is it for this Indciator-centric video. Definitely go over to powerhousefilms.co.uk to check out Indciator and what they have coming up, including things like the Mae West box set, which looks very promising. And, you know, they have some great stuff coming in 2022. So keep an eye on them and keep an eye out for sales, but they usually only happen about once a year, maybe twice at most. So definitely just keep an eye on what they're doing is what I'm saying. Is I love their work. They do great releases, and I'm a huge fan. So that's it, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.